been following this story, as many people certainly in Los Angeles have. It's about Casey Kasem, a very beloved figure, a man who's had such success with his voice, but it was beyond that. He's a very giving guy.
He has done so much to change and help so many people.
And suddenly we've been following a story where some of his children have been kept away from seeing him. They claim because of his wife, Jean, keeping them away. The drama has played out. It did lead to an assemblyman who wants to give adult children more rights.
And so I've introduced Assembly Bill 2034, which will simply provide rights to the adult children of elderly parents. It will provide them a way to make sure that, provide families a way to make sure that families get to see each other before somebody departs this earth. This bill, or the bill idea, comes from the activism, of course, of Carrie Kasem.
Carrie has been fighting to visit her dad, the legendary broadcaster Casey Kasem. He has Parkinson's disease. She says she's been denied access to her dad by Jean, her stepmother of 33 years. And first of all, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. We were watching Mike Gatto, and a lot of us are watching him, remembering that his dad was recently killed, and that was in the news. Yeah. This is it's an ugly situation. It's a sad situation, no matter how you look at it.
You're right. It's absolutely horrible. And, you know, fighting it in the courts, first begging her to see him. Why are you doing this? Writing her emails, trying to call her. Like, let us see Dad. What's going on? Nothing, nothing, nothing. So I finally decided, okay, we got to do something about this. And I protested. I went to court, and we still can't see her.
And
Dad.
you went out and protested. Yeah, there
you
you
were
are,
on the
right
streets,
there.
right?
Yes.
And this isn't just you and your brother and sister. It's also his relatives and others from his inner circle that haven't been allowed in.
It's his brother. It's me. My brother lives in Singapore, so he wasn't there. My sister was off to the side. All of his friends, three friends from 63 years, one that created American Top 40, another one that produced it, Don Bastani, his assistant of 27 years, and his friend. These are all my dad's closest circle that have been blocked.
They all feel locked out.
Yes.
And no one's able to. Now, obviously, your dad is worth a great deal of money. It's what, we're talking $80 million at some accounts. People will always ask, is this about the money? What is this about?
We're not in the will. And that's not because my dad didn't love us. He set up a trust for us. So we have a trust. We're not in the will. Jean made sure of that.
So let me stop you from money is not the issue.
No, I'm successful. I have a job. I've been working in radio since '97. I have a syndicated show with Clear Channel. It's called Sixth Sense with Nikki Sixx. My brother is extremely successful, and my sister's a physician's assistant.
So when you hear people say, oh, they're just after the money, it must drive you crazy.
Let people think what they want. I know what's true for me, and I know that I had to change some things here. So that's why, you know, Mike Gatto took on the legislation.
Now, you and your brother and your sister have differed a little bit, because didn't they sign an agreement and you did not? Why did you not sign the agreement? And they're now talking about her, right?
Right. Well, it wasn't court ordered, and they were. I'm not going to get into it, but they were scared of something, and they signed, and now we can't see him.
The agreement basically says that they can't what?
Oh, well, if you are going to see your dad, you have 20 minutes. We have an armed guard standing there. We can't bring a phone. We can't bring a computer in. We can't let him talk to any of his friends. We have to, everything is recorded that we do. And I said, that's not visitation.
All right, for a lot of people in town, they know Jean Kasem, because your dad and Jean were very, very public figures. Every charity event, they're on the red carpet.
And she was always very extravagant in how she looked.
And she stood out, so much taller than your dad, and always dressed in some eye-catching fashion.
And for her part, I know in the court papers she has said that she cares for him day in and day out. She does her best to provide for him. That what's going on he would find intolerable and unpleasant, basically, for what's going on.
That your visits would be disturbing.
Right, and let me put it to you this way. We saw our dad every single week. I worked for him for years. The most important thing to him is family and us. And what's intolerable is her not letting my dad's loved ones around him when he is dying. To be left alone, dying in a hospital. She left him in a hospital for over 2 months. He didn't have a window, he wasn't outside, and he had bed sores. Tell me what's intolerable. Not only that, she told TMZ a month before we were blocked that she was in talks to do the Real Housewives. You know, wouldn't cameras and a show filled with drama in his house where he's dying in the other room be intolerable. Not his kids who have loved him. He loves us. Anybody who knows my dad knows we mean the world to him.
All right, let me cut through this then. What is this about? Why did this happen?
If I told you, she'd probably sue me because, it's like I could tell you, it's subjective. I could say because of this, because of that, because let me just tell you this. When I was a kid, I had this safety blanket. It was like, well, it's like my penguin. It was a bird. And I'd sleep with him every night. And my dog chewed up his beak. Every weekend we lived with my dad and Jean from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. She said, leave the bird with me, leave your little pet with me, and I'll fix him up, sew him up, and you can have him next weekend. I left him there, and when I came back on Friday, she had thrown that penguin to her dogs as a chew toy. I was 8 years old, so I don't know what's going on in her head. I don't know what's happening. I wish we could put this all behind us. There's so many times I dream of, like, in my dreams where I'm talking to her saying, look, let's get past this, let's forgive each other, and I'll actually hug her. I don't know why she does not like us.
Do you ever, like after the show, and by the way, we're extending an invitation for her side of the story.
Sure.
So we can hear it. After the show, just call her on the phone?
She won't pick up the phone.
Well, what would you tell her right now if you could?
It doesn't. She's heard everything I need to say. I want to see my dad, and this is cruel. This is evil.
And
this
she's
is not
saying
right.
You cannot see your dad.
Right, that's right.
When was the last time you saw him?
For Christmas. But let me just say, I'm turning something that is in my darkest hour into something hopeful and something my dad would do, and that would be to change things. So I've taken on this legislation along with Assemblyman Mike Gatto, with our Kasem Cares Foundation. We have a great event coming up at my new store in Beverly Hills. It's called Good Vapor Beverly Hills. So come down to Good Vapor, come check it out. It's a huge event happening this Saturday.
All right, we have it on myfoxla.com. As I say, we're inviting Jean to come in to talk about this, and maybe something can get done. Do you think?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And that's why I'm doing it with